Hello, welcome everyone. It's Training Tuesday. We have a very special guest. I am so excited. I can't wait for you to hear all of the glittery goodness that she is going to throw down tonight. And it is going to be life transformative. And I got to tell you, the first time that I met this fantastic, amazing, glittery, sparkly self, she gave me a pen, a pink pen with a big diamond on top. Yes, and I use it still. And it's in my purse, and I sign things with it, and everybody always comments on it. And I mean, she had known me for all of, 5 minutes. So I knew from then that you were going to up-level yourself, that you're going to help people sparkle in amazing ways. And you should see the work that she's doing with a group called Gals. And I know she's going to talk a little bit about that, but all these other ways that she helps you kind of create a fantastic, amazing self. And so we're going to dive in, and I want to give her all the time that she needs, and she's going to introduce herself in just a minute. But I want to remind you that in the comments, let us know that you're here. Even if you're watching on replay, let us know replay. Let us know where you're saying hi from, and I'll be monitoring those as we go. And so take it away.
Yay! Thank you so much, Suzanne. Oh my gosh, you're so right. When we met, we had such a connection immediately because we both like sparkles.
Yay! I know. I love that jacket. It's so cute.
I love it. Yes, I had to come on my jacket, of course. I'm like, oh, well, I got to go to the Sparkle Factor Queen and make sure I'm sparkly. So thank you so much. So today my talk is about dump the junk. And what I do is I actually help women to live a more fun, fantastic, and fulfilling life by dumping the junk, discovering the real you, and then designing your ideal life so that you can show up as your most confident, creative, and courageous self. But, yeah, I love it. But what I found is that we've got to dump this junk. So I found that I can talk about the other two topics, but if I leave the dump the junk, I find that just as I did myself, women tend to sabotage themselves in their success. So I really found that this is a pivotal talk.
Well, I'm really excited that you said yes. So because this is stuff I think, especially as women, and of course men too, but I think women hold on to things a lot longer, and then it just gets like your cells get broken up. We just don't realize all the things that we hang on and what they do to us physically and mentally. So I'm excited to learn.
Yes. And of course, I had my cards I must have left them in my other room, but oh well. We have what I call exhaustive practices. And those can be, I have a thing of cards that I could fan out for you, but I forgot them, of course. But of things that we do, like there's so many of them that we can definitely just fan them out on a deck of cards, right? Like things like people pleasing, the shoulds, guilty, feeling guilty, shame,
that's me all the time.
Right? We all have them. And so what I found was that we've got to start working on those exhaustive practices so that we can move forward. So what helped me to discover this was my own story. So when I was about 5 years ago, I was struggling with weight loss, and I was kind of back in the same place again. Like I've been here so many times. I was in a Weight Watchers meeting. I was listening to the leader, and I was kind of having one of those wah moments. Like I wasn't really,
yes.
Right. And I wasn't hearing what she was saying, but I was having an epiphany because in my mind, I was thinking about, okay, what is going on here? Why is it that I'm in here? I get so pumped up. I'm excited. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And not even before I walk out the door, sometimes it'd be gone. Like I'd be negative, right? It's so frustrating. And there was a Safeway next door. So sometimes I'd even just go there and get a snack, or I'd be driving home and like, oh, I should just stop and get a milkshake or whatever. Yet I was so excited in the meeting, and it hit me in that meeting that I wasn't actually struggling with weight loss. I was struggling with depression.
Yeah.
This was about the time that Robin Williams' story came out, and I actually fully related to that. I remember people talking about how he was like outgoing and happy and, funny when he was out, and then he'd come home and he was dark and depressed. And that to me was crazy. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
I can put on that mask better than anybody, but then hit the door and whoosh, I'm somebody totally different. That was what really just helped me to see, like, man, I'm sabotaging myself in everything in life, not just weight loss, relationships. Didn't have very many good friendships at the time. It just was very clear, like, okay, there's something bigger going on here.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until I let that go a little bit further. I'm a DIYer, so I tried to figure it out for myself.
DIYers.
Right. I love DIYing. But it wasn't until I was starting to have suicidal thoughts that I finally was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not me. I finally told my husband, I finally let him know what was going on, and literally just weeping, we went to the doctor that day and went and got help.
Wow.
So obviously, I always tell people that first step, you can tell that you're raw. You can tell that you're really fully in it if you can't talk about it without just weeping. If you're shaky when you're talking about it, those are just some little symptoms you can see, like, oh, maybe I actually need to work on this, right?
Yeah.
So that just started me on my self-love journey, which is where Signature Self System came from.
Woo.
So what I recognized when I started talking to other women was that, yeah, we all have this, right? All of us, we all have negative thoughts. We all have these things. And what I like to look at them as like ropes. So each one of these is a rope that we carry. All of us carry them. And we can do a lot. We're really capable women, right? We can make it work. We can just figure it out. But a lot of us are carrying around dump trucks.
Oh, yeah, that's such a powerful image.
And I was definitely carrying a dump truck, which, to look at the things I had accomplished up until that point, even carrying that dump truck is a miracle. And I think we can all relate to that, right? We can still accomplish a lot.
Right.
But I was carrying a freaking dump truck, you know? So it was hard. And every time I would get ahead a little bit, I was just barely making it. I might feel good for one day a week, and I could do a lot in that one day a week, but man, it was really tough. So I reached out. I started talking to people and saying, hey, this is what I'm going through. And I was amazed at the amount of people that actually were like, thank you so much for sharing that. And I can't, this is also what I'm going through. And it helped me to see we need help carrying that dump truck.
Oh,
right? We need a team. We need a team of people. I call this in my system, I call it building Team You. We need to know who needs to be on our team. Who's that person you can call at 2 a.m. and you know that they're going to be there, right? We all need that person. But I also think it's important, and I won't go into it too much, it's also to know who needs to get off of Team You.
Oh, I was just talking about this yesterday and today. It's such a powerful thing because we collect all these souls, right? And I know I have a really hard time discarding souls, but it's the best, most powerful thing I do for my health when I do it.
Yeah, because we don't have time for toxicity,
right?
And we can always love them from a distance, right? They don't have to be on our team, though,
right?
And then what I also recognized when I started doing that was so many people were telling me, yeah, this is what I'm going through too. And I saw they're also carrying their dump trucks. So all of this was super helpful for me to see that I wasn't alone. I didn't need to do this alone. And I could build up a team of people that would help me to start working on this.
Wow.
So our goal, I actually kind of believe, but I don't know, and maybe it's because I'm not there in my process, but maybe someday, but I kind of believe that they don't ever necessarily go away completely. I think we still have negative thoughts. We still have those things. We just learn to work through them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then maybe instead of pulling a dump truck, we're pulling a Mini Coupe.
There you go. Cute little car.
Right. So if you can imagine yourself, on a racetrack, obviously you're going to be able to go further and faster pulling the mini coupe versus pulling the dump truck, right?
Right. Well, and I will say, I think dump trucks on the whole, they look heavy, they look blockish, they don't, maybe they're kind of dirty. I mean, they're a dump truck, that's what they do. But, minis can be fast, they can have some style and some sizzle to that. They are definitely a lighter car and they're more nimble, right? It can move around. So I love that image from a dump truck to a mini, and that's very powerful.
On multiple levels, right? They're also stinky.
Yeah.
They're literally loaded with junk.
Yeah.
Who needs all that junk in their trunk, right?
Right.
So there's multiple analogies that we can pull from this. And I really, truly could talk about this so much because it's such an important topic. I really love seeing when women start to work on this concept of putting together their team, how to work on it. A lot of times I have women write out their stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just help them see, like, look what you've overcome. Look at the struggles that you have gone through. And when we start to acknowledge and recognize those and really call them for what they are, it gives you the power instead of your story having the power over you. And I love that. So, there really are multiple steps that we go through in this, but obviously I can't talk about all those. We're already at 11 minutes, so which is great. I could talk about this topic for a long time. I just love it.
Well, you're passionate about it, and that's why I have you on here. It's so good.
But I also don't like leaving people in that. So, because it's a dark place, I feel like something that I do see that happens a lot is people will stay in that. And so again, if you find yourself talking about the same thing, 100 times, you've talked to that same friend, I really do just, if anybody took anything out of today, I would say, go get some help. Your friends don't have the tools and the strategies. They're not counselors. And really what it starts to become is ugly and toxic in your life. Right. And you've got to be able to move forward. So I really do encourage people to get counseling. If they need resources, feel free to reach out. I've got some great resources for that. I'm sure you do too, Suzanne. But yeah, it's just really important. So,
well, and I'd like to say that I think as women, when we get together in our circles, I like that ancient image of, the wisdom around the fire with the women, and they're sharing stories about their day. I love that imagery. And so when we're in our circles, wherever those are, whether it be a winery, a coffee bar, at the soccer field, wherever that's happening, I don't want it to always be me dumping on all my friends. Right. I want to walk away giving life and receiving life. And so I find if I get in that space too much, that's a trigger for me to go, I need to find someone else to be processing this with and not rely on my friends so much, because I need them for other things in my life, And so I think it's good to remind ourselves that we can't always unload on our friends. I mean, it's okay to share stuff, and every once in a while you're going to have a bad day. Okay. But if every time you're coming in contact with someone and all they're doing is, they're spewing at you all the time, I think that that's a signal that I hope friends stand up when I do that and go, it's time for you to go back into your counselor or a therapist or find somebody else to process this with, so you can just show up and be amazing in this space, right?
Yeah, because that's what you want, right? When we get together with our friends, we want to freely, fully be us and enjoy, and we want them to enjoy us and vice versa, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So really that is the very first step of what we do. And then we look at the discovering you, which of course I'm not going to really go into, but it does actually go into what my free things are for your group.
I love freebies.
Me too. And you and I kind of have sister groups, which I just love.
I love that too.
A similar, because we're both fun and uplifting and empowering. So, we have a very similar group. I have my gals club, and that's where I go to grow, learn, and have fun. I also come to your group to learn about sparkle and, that habit of happiness, right?
Right.
But also the discovering you. So these are 3 things that I have for free.
Wow.
I can't seeing which
Three.
direction
You're
I need
good.
to go.
You're fine. Three.
3 free things. And this is because if you never like did anything else, I think these are the 3 most important things that you can do. So my first one is my signature self constitution. And this is something I made because I found that I was being a different person in different places.
Ooh.
And not in a sense of like, of course, sometimes we have to have a range of us, right? Like if you're going to be at a funeral, you're not going to be like, woohoo, you know, depending on the funeral.
Unless you're in New Orleans at one of those fun jazz funerals, right?
Right. But you got to have a different range. But it wasn't that. It was that I didn't feel confident and bold in every situation that I went into, like me. So I wrote this up. It's got places in it so that you can basically brag about yourself on this constitution and take it with you.
I love that so much. What a good tangible reminder of how to show up in the world, right?
Yeah, it starts off, I am Myhriah Amazing Young. And don't we just need to say that to ourselves sometimes?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And then my second thing is my 6 all-time favorite personality assessments. Most of them are free. I think one of them's a book. 2 might be a book. Anyways, they're my favorites. They have helped me to like go through the process of not only like healing myself, but then learning more about myself so that I can move forward and be me.
Right.
And then finally, I actually am giving a free module away, which is the Discovering You.
You are so sweet. Thank you.
And I just think it's just an important one. So if they go and do the personality assessments in the module, there's actually a workbook in there that they can write all of it down and keep it all together so that they have it. And again, you can look back at it, or you can, if you do the assessment again in 5 years or whatever, they're super, that they have that information. It's fun to watch yourself grow and learn, right?
Yeah. And see how far you've come, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I remember doing the Strength Finders assessment I did it a while ago. And it was interesting to see how so many of the strengths that I was using were very kind of melancholy, introverted, strategic, which was fine. And I am a strategic person. But when I took it again and I was living more as myself, it was more relationship and more. And it just felt better. Like, yeah, this really fits better.
I love that.
But it took some work, right? So, and then, if anyone's looking for a group, another group to connect, I think having multiple groups within Facebook is a good idea, especially right now with all the politics and the negativity. Having positive groups that you're a part of, huge.
I agree. That's just separate from all those things and can just kind of reset. I know you work a whole lot on mindset and showing up as your best self, and very much like the Sparkle Squad. And so I think that is great. The more the merrier is always my philosophy. So
agreed. I mean, we can belong to like hundreds of groups, and I've got several that are negative, and I've had to actually boot those out and like find more positive ones to be a part of. So I would love if anyone wanted to join us at Gals, that is a free Facebook group, and we do have a lot of fun in there. So
so I'm thinking that when this is over, why don't I pop the link is that good to your freebies? I'll put it in the comments below. So check that. And then if you'll jump in, and if you want to link directly to the Facebook group for Gals, that'd be great. And if you don't want to, that's cool too. And you can just reach out to people. But I would love that because it's a very powerful place. I love the content in there. So yeah,
I'm so glad. We're having a lot of fun over there for sure. Wow, I actually thought that was going to take me longer than 20 minutes. I was so nervous.
It's 18:39. You did awesome, Myhriah. I love it.
I was like, oh no, I got to be really fast because I'm not going to be able to make it through all of it. But
you weren't fast. You're great. All good. Well, I want to thank you so much for just taking time. You have a busy life. You had littles running around today. You showing up tonight for this. And I mean, I really appreciate it. I know everyone that watches this either live or catches the replay will get some really rich knowledge out of this. And thank you for being transparent about who you are, where you were, where you are now. It's very inspirational, and I really appreciate it. So for everybody who's on, thank you so much. Don't forget, it's Training Tuesday. You can find this in several places, including on YouTube. And we will catch you next Tuesday. Thanks, Myhriah.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Bye.